35 is investigating the homeless bans that are popping up all across Central Florida.
Yeah, some area leaders are worried that these new laws are going to force the problem to just a different sidewalk. The city of DeLand passed a law last night that's going to ban camping on public property. And Fox 35's Randy Hildreth spoke with the homeless woman who was forced to move her tent today. So, Randy, she says she feels stuck.
Yeah, good evening to you both. So the woman that you'll meet has a story that you'll hear when you talk to homeless people quite often. An injury or a job loss, bills start to pile up, and then they find themselves out on the streets. And so now cities and counties are tasked with how do we help people get the resources that they need, but also not shift the problem to another area. For the last few days, this has been Tiffany Miller's home, a tent along the 436 in Apopka that's caused a social media controversy on Facebook with close to 300 comments from people sounding off about whether she should or shouldn't be there.
But as of right now, we don't have nowhere to go.
Her latest eviction notice came before noon today. Seminole County Deputies packed up her belongings and asked her to leave because she was on private property.
So what are you going to do for the rest of the day?
I have no idea.
There's not a homeless shelter in Apopka. And Tiffany can't go down the road to Altamont Springs because last month the city passed a sidewalk camping ban. Orlando's not an option either. The city also passed a ban too.
You don't know where you can or you can't go, or you can, and I guess a lot of these are new ordinances, so even if you don't know about it, and then you turn around and get in trouble.
And last year, a handful of cities and counties across Central Florida started cracking down on where homeless people can and can't sleep. Monday night, the city of DeLand and Volusia County joined the list.
If they pick up camp and leave the public property, leave the city, go somewhere else, there's not anything we can do about that. The point is, you can't just set up camp in a place. They're going to have to leave.
Ordinance like this also exists in Daytona Beach and all of Brevard County, Miami-Dade and West Palm Beach counties. And now there could be a statewide ban on sleeping in public if a bill clears Tallahassee.
It's a tricky situation, but I don't think that's the right way to go. I think we've got to find other solutions, and the long-term solution obviously is affordable housing, particularly here in Central Florida.
Advocates are concerned because they say there aren't enough facilities to house the homeless in Central Florida, so that could mean someone goes from one sidewalk to another or one city to another.
We've not seen that yet, but some of these ordinances have just gone into place in certain areas, so we anticipate it.
Now, in DeLand, for example, police are trained to approach these types of situations with compassion, first trying to see if that person can be connected with resources before there's a conversation about jail or fines. John?
So, Randy, before you go, I want to ask you about something you talked about in your story there. Could a statewide ban on homeless camping make this the law everywhere soon, or what are you hearing on that?
So we do know that a bill is working its way through Tallahassee, and it could be similar to legislation that we've seen in Georgia, Texas, and Oregon, which would it would be illegal for someone to be sleeping out in public unless it's at a homeless campsite. In Texas, for example, one of the things that advocates talked about is if this is in place, it's also important that efforts are made to provide shelter options for people so it doesn't work in a silo. But something we're definitely watching. Back to you, John.
Thanks a lot, Randy. Fox 35's Randy Hildreth in Apopka this evening. Now, by the way, in DeLand, when officers tell people that they cannot sleep on public property, they have to offer them the option of a shelter bed. People in DeLand now have access to 2 different shelters, which is a move that's going to cost the city an additional $70,000 a year. The second shelter will be voted on next week. All right, shifting gears.